Kieran, this is Manchester United's worst ever Premier League start. What surprised you the most about how bad they've been?
I think he summed it up really well. Like he knows exactly what's wrong with the team. That's the funny thing for me. It's like he can tell that there's just there's no consistency, lack of communication, organisation, and you just don't associate Man United like that at all. It feels like they're just so reactive instead of being proactive. Then they always seem to go a goal down, and they can feel the pressure of the place, and their performance drops dramatically, and then it goes the other way when they, if they score a goal and the crowd gets behind them, then they get overexcited, and it just doesn't see. They never really seem to look in control of a game over 90 minutes. I haven't seen them. I can't remember the last time I saw them, really dominate a game, and it was like, they should have won that. It just seems a bit of a mess. But for me, they just got to decide who they are. Are they a counter-attack team? Are they a possession-based team? Are they a team with just really good players that do their job well, and then have 2 or 3 special players that make the difference? And that last one seems how they are to me. It seems that they're that kind of team. And if they are that way, then they have to just own it and play that way. And for me, I don't understand why Garnacho doesn't play as much. He hasn't played. He comes on. He looks like their most dangerous player. And so I'd like to see him a little bit more. They're not going to get much worse at the moment, so you might as well just try new things. But yeah, I don't like seeing Fernandes out on the right. I just think that they need a big reshape, if I'm honest.
Ten Hag's talking about consistency, Craig. Isn't it his job to sort that out?
They've been consistent though.
You know that press conference?
He didn't look as though he was convincing himself, by the way, never mind us.
You know that press conference? We have a word in Scotland for that. It's called havering.
Oh.
Havering.
I wonder which word you were going to pull out there.
Havering means rambling.
Right.
Manchester United, under this guy this year, are getting outplayed by the most mediocre teams in the Premier League. Manchester United, and we talked about this week, it's not nobody else is playing and player out of position at left back who's made 2 mistakes in the game at left back that's cost them goals. And then he comes out and talks about mistakes from players. What does he expect when Amrabat gets spun from a throw-in? When Amrabat comes in field, gives the ball away, he's 5 yards deeper than everybody else. He's got defenders, yeah, he's got players injured. I'm repeating, just run the repeat from the other day I was on. It's the same thing. And he goes to this press conference, and maybe there's a language issue into English, and he's not translating it in the manner in which he wants to. But he's rambling. He's rambling because he doesn't have the answers. And by the way, those odds are cranky. Because Brentford are a better team than that, and United are a worse team.
Get those Burley millions on there.
Not go that far. So Brentford will not be fazed one little bit playing this side, will they?
No, they won't be, but they're not actually at their best either. It's probably a good game for Man United at home, because Brentford will get after it, and they'll be physical, and they'll play balls forward early. It'll be none of this fancy playing out for the back stuff. But Brentford are as bad as Man United right now. And that's good news for Man United. That's the only reason I think they'll win this game, because I've got nothing positive to say about United. And his interview there just smacked of trying to convince anybody who wants to try and listen and be positive about United, because every single thing he said there was just... He was getting through it, is all he was doing, because there was nothing to convince you that Man United are anything other than a shambles right now.
What's wrong with Rashford, Nedum?
I don't know. I've got no clue at all. I think he's had some opportunities to score. He's not taken them. But then now you can see there's a bit of indecision as he's running through on goal. Things which you didn't really see in the second half of last season. He looks so committed. As soon as he's through, you know the shot's coming. You know it's going to go into the goal for him. But I suppose this is the other side of football. This is what can happen to players, especially when you look around and other people aren't performing as well. So I think for him, yes, he's dropped out of form, but it's coincided with United being out of form as well. And it seems like something's just off there. And I think when we look back, even though they won that first game of the season, I think it was against Wolves, the performance, I think we probably could have made a bigger deal out of it, because that is indicative of how they've been to this point so far in the season. And as Craig has said, you know, they've had injuries, they've had other off-the-field issues, they've had the ownership issues, but realistically, they just haven't been good enough. And I have to agree with Stevie as well, though. Like, in the grand scheme of things, playing a Brentford side that hasn't won a league game since August is probably a blessing in disguise for United, because if this was a Brentford that were at their best, I think this could have been a real significant issue for them.
You've come up against Rashford numerous times, Kieran. Was last season just a hot streak? Is he just regressed to the mean now?
No, I mean, I feel like you got to, you know, base a little bit on the team around him as well. You know, for me, he has world-class qualities, and he's, you know, United's most dangerous player by far. And so, you know, they need to build the team around him. But yeah, he's having whether it's a confidence issue, like Nedum said, last season it just seemed so effortless to him, and he was so direct. And now it seems like he's, you know, taking a split extra second to think before he takes a shot or make a decision. But I think that's happening with the whole of the United squad at the moment. The decision making, because of the pressure, is affecting them, and I think that it will. You know, I don't think it's going to last long for Mark. He'll come good at some point this season, because, you know, he loves to prove doubters wrong. And so yeah, I think it's a time thing for him individually. But until the team establish like actually who they are, then things aren't going to change at United anytime soon.
I think I'm less concerned about Marcus Rashford with the ball and more concerned with him off the ball.
The tracking back thing?
At the moment, yeah. I think when he sorts that side of his game out, and it doesn't take confidence to run about and work hard and chase and harry and shut down. And he's not been the only one, but he's one of the big hitters at United, by the way. He's one of the leaders from the front. That's where it starts. Doesn't start at the back, doesn't start in the middle of the park, starts up front, right? And if you're lazy up there and you don't track back, you get exposed further back. And I don't think he's done it as well as last year. And I think last year he was giving it both barrels. He was working hard for the team and he was scoring some great goals. At the moment, he's not really doing any of those. And I think he along with others, needs to up his game. And he is one of the guys that others look to. As a guy who's 25 now, he's not a young whippersnapper at Man United. He scored umpteen goals last year. He's a full England international. And to be quite frank, I think he's been a little shy in the work department this year, and I think that's filtered through to the rest of his game.
The one shining light, though, for United, Stevie, it's got to be Rasmus Hojlund, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Come in and look good, look hungry, look one like he gets involved, and obviously got some goals as well.
The goals absolutely is fantastic. But think about what you just said there. He's running around. He's hungry. He's looking to get in behind. These are all things that come from just running. We've just been talking about Rashford, about not running around. And now we're praising Hojlund for doing all these things. But obviously putting goals on the end of it is the cherry on the top. So, listen, Marcus Rashford, for me, is getting to the stage where Ten Hag is going to have to drop him. Because of the form that Hojlund's shown, but he can't play anywhere else. He's got to play down the left-hand side. Right. And when he's giving you nothing as far as goal output's concerned, and he's giving you nothing defensively, there comes a time when you've got to set him. And that's why Garnacho's not playing.
Let's take a look at predictions then, shall we? I think, Stevie, you alluded to the fact you think this is going to be a win for United. Yeah. Everyone agrees with you, in fact, with the exception of Craig, who is going for a 1-1 draw.